This grass is called no-mow. The actual type of grass is hard fescue and or creeping red fescue. You're finding that different companies are blending this, but hard fescue seems to be the main type of grass they're using. So the benefit of this is it's a grass that doesn't require any maintenance really because there's no mowing involved. It also doesn't need the amount of fertilizer that you would put on a normal lawn. And secondly, it uses less water, especially it's also shade tolerant. So you can see in this median island that there's some younger trees that'll eventually get up and shade parts of this area. And especially the creeping red fescue is tolerant of some shades that in ways that a lot of lawn turf grasses are not. And that's really the best way to use this is a large scale ground cover. You see this used a lot in parks, on slopes, as well as on golf courses used as the rough. I see that a lot that way. And that's probably two of the better ways to use this. Here they've used it as a green belt around a parking lot combined with trees, kept it very simple, and that's a nice look. I had this grass myself for 3 years, and what I would say to you is the amount of water is certainly lower than turf grass, but it's not as low as some other ground covers such as a manzanita or a cotoneaster. So you're going to cut your water use over turf certainly, but if you've got huge expanses of this, this is not your lowest water solution. Although longevity wise it's got some benefits over some of the other woodier ground covers. One of the things I did with it, which is kind of a fun idea, is I put daffodils in with this, and every spring these would come up. I put in a few hundred of them. So it's a way you can get creative with it and give it a little zip during the spring, and then they just die back and you still have the green grass as a cover. So that's what I can tell you about fescue. They typically use kind of 5 to 7 pounds of seed to establish this. You can also get it in a sod nowadays. So I think that's a little prohibitive, but depending on your situation, that might make sense in terms of the ability to establish it and to crowd out weeds. But it's such a dense grass, it really does a good job in that anyway. I really had no weed issues when I had this for a few years. And so when it's left to go the way it will naturally want to, I think you'll find that weeds aren't really an issue. And what else I can tell you? Takes about 10 to 15 days to germinate from seed, and then 6 to 8 weeks to establish. And just depending on the time of year, and it's best to establish it in a cooler time of year. Still some warmth like fall or spring before it gets really cold, but also not in the heat of the summer. And that is no-mow, hard fescue, or creeping red fescue, or a blend of the two.